That is because the Constitution had made it possible for us not to have hiccups. For me, as far as there's no constitutional crisis, I'd rather we let the Constitution keep having its way, keep guiding us in the way we go about this.
So you don't think that there's a need to legislate specifics, like some people have advocated, that ensures that the Nigerian public get more information about the president's health, because this is a road that we've traveled before?
Regarding the president's health, you must also remember that first of all, he's an individual. And if he's a patient, he has the full rights of a patient, which sometimes his being president do not affect. You know, the information about his health is his prerogative or that of his close family. Yeah. But then again, he's president of Nigeria, and we elected him to be president, so that his health cannot be that private anymore, and things like that. Now, talking about making special legislations, I always make response to such a request that we have too many laws already. If you say today that we should impact the extant laws to specifically say that the president's health certificate must be on NTA 10 or Channels Television every evening, and, then there will be the question of pragmatics, post-enactment pragmatics. You may go to court over that. It may be litigated over that. So we'll have to wait for the judiciary to come and make a declaration of what the purport of such a law is. You know, that's why certain people, certain thinkers think that, you know, much as the Constitution will make provisions, a lot has to be left to those who have been elected to indeed operate the Constitution, to carry out the true intent, you know, the spirit of the Constitution itself, so in their political transactions. You know, not very many people favor judicial declarations on constitutional provisions, because don't forget that judges were never elected. It is executive and legislature that were elected rather, to operate the Constitution. So if you have an instance where judges are hyperactive in trying to declare constitutionality or unconstitutionality, that declarations may even supplant the will of the people who elected those that were indeed primed to operate the Constitution to doing their work. You know, so I will rather say that judicial declarations should be reduced to when it's utterly necessary, when the principles, those fundamental principles that form the ramparts of our constitutionality are threatened, for them to come in, or when civil liberties are involved. There must be activism. Other than that, they should be rarely seen getting into the hairs and eyes and teeth and mouth of the executive and legislature where they're trying to operate the Constitution.
Let's move on to the issues of constitutional amendments. What are your views about the way that lawmakers have gone about the process and the outcomes that we've seen?
I think this process is terribly challenged. The bona fides are scanty. Legitimacy may even be worse at the end of it. Because for what I'm seeing so far, it looks like if there's so much movement, but then there's no mobility. Or how do they say it? There's so much mobility, but no movement. Whichever it is. You know, I look at what we've heard so far. Devolution was rejected. Oh, come on. Then what's the purpose of that whole process? What is it? You know, is it possible for people for them to ignore the yearnings of Nigeria right now? If the country were so well run, if the country was so well structured, you know, why would we be having the problems in the Niger Delta, the problems in the Northeast, and all that? I think they're just giving Goodluck Jonathan a reason to brag later that the process he empaneled in 2014 when he brought the national conference, and the good results, the excellent results, the resolutions that went very, very far to address Nigerians' yearnings in 2014 have been downplayed and trashed. I think it's all a joke. If they really mean to do a constitutional amendment in this country, you know, first of all, I'll tell you things that we should do. We need to do a proper census then we need to do a proper rearrangement of constituencies. We all know that, look, the constituencies that they stand in this country right now don't make sense. You know, Lagos, compare Lagos and Kano, with now Kano and Jigawa. I mean, look at the populations. Look at the populations in 1967. Look at the populations in 1973. And look at the constituencies that have since transformed from 1967 to now. And these are the people these are the lines of which we're supposed to vote. It doesn't make sense. You know, if we mean to do something, let us do it well. If we don't mean to do it, then let's trash it. But there is always the soft due effect of justice and fairness. It counts things. But if you insist on proceeding along the lines of injustice and oppression, then be ready for the result. You know, nobody will be comfortable, nobody will be happy, and the country will continue to be enmeshed in morass. If they do not want to recognize that, good luck to them. They must first go and look at the resolutions that were done in 2014. A constitution exercise that came out with state police that will greatly ameliorate the insecurity in this country. Policing will be local policing. Security issues will be well in the hands and consciousness of those who will be running them. You want to compare that to what we're doing now, where we say devolve this country so that, you know, governors can come closer to the people. You want to reject that and you say you are doing what? Let them just earn the big money they are earning in the National Assembly there and leave us all alone. Otherwise, what we are seeing so far, it doesn't look like it's serious.
So what do you think is the proper way to do things? Because I've heard you talk about census and constituency, but to what end? Those
things will bring much fairness and justice into the whole process. And where do we go from there? We'll go for referendums. Justice, fairness ought to be the prime moving factors that will give us a successful end. And, you know, we all love this country, you know. We love this country. I even believe that some of the people are agitating for separation also love the country. But they do not want to be in a country that's so fraught with injustice and oppression. They do not want to be in that kind of country. So if we can bring in justice and fairness, I'm sure a lot of those agitations will go away.